Everybody, St. Paul here. Crisp fall day here in Minneapolis. Welcome to episode 68 of Music on the Run. We recorded these episodes at the NAMM show this past year, early in January, and they're just coming out now. Wait till you hear this one. He's a great guitarist. He's unbelievable. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. I've known him for many, many years. He works with Taylor Swift. He works with Bryan Adams. Paul Sidoti is my next guest on Music on the Run.
What's up? What's going on, NAMM? Let me hear you. Hey, everybody. My name is Paul Peterson, and back in 1985, Prince gave me the nickname St. Paul, and because I was the lead singer in a group that he put together back then called The Family, and I am so excited to be back here at the Electro Voice booth for the NAMM show. Man, are you guys excited about NAMM this year? See? We got some folk. We are in front of a live audience once again this year. We are so happy to be back. Michael Dussault, thank you so much for inviting us back. Your team is incredible. We love being here. It's always fun. NAMM for me is just about seeing you guys come to see the podcast. It's about meeting new people. It's about seeing old friends. It's about hearing about new gear like they've got here at EV. It's just a great time. I look forward to it every single year. And I want to thank my producer, Davide Rosso, for always doing such a great job for me. Davide, thank you for being here. He flew in from Italy to do this. That's great, man. Thank you so much. Well, this is episode 66 of Music on the Run. And we're happy to be live here at the Electro Voice booth at NAMM. You know, it's been crazy. I know you've been watching the news with the fires and everything that's been going on. So if that has affected you or any of your friends, just know that there's a community that loves you and supports you. And we'll do whatever we can, whether it's prayers or putting in the hours to come and help you get back on your feet. You've got the musical community. We are strong with our musical community, are we not? I would hope so. Yeah, that's what we do for each other. All right, moving on to my guest, who's an old friend of mine. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a studio owner, a family man, and an all-around incredible guy. He's been Taylor Swift's lead guitarist since her debut album in 2007. He's at NAMM this year. He's here every year, but he's here because he's up for a prestigious tech award. Please welcome my buddy Paul Sidoti. Paulie!
What's up?
Hi, buddy. 2 Pauls on the stage here.
There's a lot of Pauls here.
There are. Yeah, lots of Pauls. There's 2 other Pauls at EV.
That we know.
So there's 4 Pauls. Eat that mic so they can hear you, will you?
Right.
Proper mic techniques.
That's right.
Taught by St. Paul today. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for taking the time
Thanks for
to
having
come on.
me. Thanks for having me.
You know, I've been trying to get this young man to come and do my show for so long, and I'm so glad we finally figured out a time that you're not on the road. So this is great.
This is great.
You are a NAMM guy. I see you here every single year. I've been here, you've been here, and you know so many people here. It's just crazy. You're like, Paul, come on. I want you to meet people at Avid. I want you to meet everybody. You just are a natural person who can go around and meet everybody. And
it just means I'm really old.
No, I think you network so flawlessly, but it's not a weird kind of, hey, I'm Paul Sidoti. And you know, you are just, it is very organic. And you create these relationships. That's got to be so important to you.
Yeah. I think the first time I came to NAMM was in 2005.
Okay.
So it's been almost 20 years, right?
Jeez.
And I try to get back here as much as I can.
Yeah.
And again, like you were saying before, it's all about catching up with old friends, meeting new friends. Because 90% of what we do, we're away from home and traveling and performing. So a lot of times we don't get to see our friends, our musical peers, unless we're at an event like this or like at an award show or whatever. But I always enjoy coming to NAMM and seeing old friends and making new ones.
You have to tell me what's going on with the Tech Awards now. You built a studio. Give us a little background on what that's all about.
So my wife and I built our kind of like a forever home in Nashville during the pandemic. And I always wanted to have a professional recording studio. I had one at my parents' house when I was growing up. My dad and I built a 24-track studio in their basement. And when I moved to Nashville, I never really had an environment to record other than, a small desktop computer or whatever. I always wanted to record live drums because I enjoyed doing that. So when we designed our house, I wanted the basement to have that was my sort of carte blanche. Do what you want with it.
A man
we
cave.
made the very nice man cave, but my wife has her office, but we have the rest of the studio was designed with the studio in mind. And about halfway through the construction of it, I worked with a guy named Carl Tatz, who's a brilliant studio designer, has built studios all over the world. He's really well known in Nashville, and he wins these. Or I know he's been nominated quite a few times for Tech Awards for his speaker cabinet design, which are called Phantom Focus monitors. And the whole studio has those. Initially, it was just going to be a stereo subwoofer setup. Yeah. But then my wife is in the business as well, and she said a lot of music record labels are demanding Atmos mixes for streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify. So I said, Carl, we're going to go Atmos. And we built a 914 Dolby Atmos mix room with a full-on tracking room, a vocal booth. There's a piano room, a lounge. They all have hookups in each room as well. So you can have 3 or 4 musicians in the control room. There's, a drummer will be in the main room. There's a piano room for a dedicated piano, B3. The lounge, you could have an acoustic or a mandolin overdubbing in there. So, and then you got the vocal booth, which could be acoustic, lead vocal, or whatever. So you can have a full-on session in the studio as well. But I also built it primarily for. We noticed during the pandemic that a lot of people were moving west to east, and they were either stopping in Austin or Nashville. Mm-hmm. And Nashville has become a huge entertainment sort of mecca now. It's grown so much. I've lived there 25 years. When I first moved there, it was like Des Moines, Iowa. It was so tiny, right? And then it just overnight, just this massive boom of economy, hotels, restaurants, all that stuff. And then I think a lot of the entertainment stuff migrated there as well, because nowadays, you don't have to necessarily be in LA or Hollywood to do movie stuff. You could bring your drive, patch it into the console. You could be working with like a movie program software in our studio and have it on the screen and do all of the Atmos mixing as if you're mixing for a movie or television project as well. Right. So I didn't want to limit it to just a music studio, but I wanted it to be all-encompassing.
So it's a tracking room and a mix room, an Atmos mix room. Yeah. You can do underscore or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did this have a life of its own? I mean, were you planning on doing this massive project? Or
it wasn't, no. I mean, I had seen some of Carl's rooms, and they were gorgeous rooms. Not over the top, but they were very elegant, and it just sort of fit what I was looking for. And then when the Atmos thing came in, it was just like, you really have to sit and experience the listening thing. It'll blow you away. I always tell people that being a professional musician for 40 some years now, you go in stages of how you listen or consume music. I mean, you get married, you have kids, so those hours are sort of very low on the scale as to how often you can really devote time to just, hey, I'm going to go listen to an album for a couple of hours and just really enjoy it. Since I've installed this Atmos thing with the Apple Music, I've gone down a rabbit hole with some of my favorite classic records, like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the Elton John record. Literally had me in tears for half of it, because that was the album that basically introduced me to music when I was 3 years old. My parents had a great record collection, and the title track was just so emotional for me listening in Atmos, because you're literally hearing background vocals just consume you as they come in from behind you, and the widespread piano and the acoustic guitars and the orchestra is just, it's actually like sitting in the room with all of the musicians. It's really amazing.
Was it a big learning curve for you to be able to figure out all of the new technology that was with? It's not that new anymore.
Is. Like,
yeah, I mean that's a lot. Right?
Yeah, I think and a lot of the early projects right out of the gate are going to be where I'll hire an Atmos mixer to come in and do the projects and learn the nuances as I go along. I mean, I know how to mix, obviously, but to really get good at it it's going to be an art,
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be a lot of hours devoted to that.
So walk us into how you got nominated for this tech award. For my listeners, I have to tell my listeners, because they're going, where are you, Paul? I am at a place called the NAMM Show, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. And I believe it's the biggest music conference, at least in the United States. So that's where we are. And that's why we're talking so much music. And that's why we're talking so much gear. But tell me how you get nominated for this award. That's got to be so prestigious for you, man.
I've never been nominated for anything. Well, I think part of it had to do with Carl. He has been here before. He's won awards before.
Yeah. And
I believe he submitted everything that was needed for getting the ball rolling on that. We were actually, and he also, right before this summer in the June issue of Mix Magazine, we were selected as one of the top, it was like basically the class of 2024 for the new studios that were out there. It was like 18 that were featured in Mix Magazine, which is, like,
that's a big deal.
That's the big deal.
That's a big deal.
And Scarlet Sound Studio was featured in that issue, which again, Carl was the guy that sort of got the ball rolling on that.
That's got to be a pinch me moment for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
See your studio, your house that you.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my baby.
And my baby, literally, Scarlet. Yeah. My daughter's name is Scarlet.
So this is open to the public for labels or individual artists to come in and mix and do Atmos or stereo mix, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're ready to go.
Just about. Yeah.
You're not totally open yet?
Just about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we are open. We have done projects, but the full launch, I'm just waiting on a few things, but yeah.
Let's go back to when you and I met. Now, I was hanging out with a mutual friend of ours, right?
Brian White, yeah.
What?
Fabulous country
You tell
artist.
your side of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Brian is he's a Grammy-winning country artist from the 90s who he's well known. He's best known for the duet with Shania Twain on From This Moment. And actually, he lives not too far from me in Nashville. And he invited me over to see this session that he was running, because we always still hang out, but back then he's like, hey, why don't you come over and check it out? I'll introduce you to my friend Paul and his daughter Taylor. Your daughter was probably a teenager at the time.
She was.
Yeah. And we had Jason Sheff from Chicago playing bass.
That's right.
You were kind of producing the whole thing, and I played guitar, and I can't remember who else was there, but it was just so much fun. We just laughed and joked around, and his sense of humor is, if you can get to know him, it's such a joy. But we had such a good time, and that's really the start of our friendship.
We became fast friends, and we've been in touch ever since. And when you come through town, you always like, what you doing?
We'll try to play golf.
I knew you were in town.
Play golf, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you like to do on the road, too.
That's
you like to play a little.
I'm not good, I always tell people, like, if you think that you're a great golf, like, so many people take it so seriously, and I'm just out there to have fun. Like we all know that unless you play every single day, the pros shoot 80, 85, on
that
a bad
is
day.
not happening in my life.
No.
Nope.
I don't know if I've ever broken 100, but
Then we can golf together.
Of course we do.
And that's why we do.
Yeah. It's all about having fun and a steak dinner or something,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing on the road.
Okay. So, all right. Usually we will talk about how many miles we run when we're on the road and what we do to stay healthy, but we're going to talk about a little bit more about what you do with your free time when you're on the road. And you are a foodie.
Foodie through and through. It's mostly steak. Like
you're a steak guy.
I'm a steak guy.
Can you say that in 2025? I'm a
Why
steak
not?
guy. Damn it, I'm proud. I'm a steak guy.
Proud steak
Let's
guy.
hear it for the steak people out there.
That's right. Was it a boo or a moo?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I love steak. I'm sorry, but I'll Google like the best, whatever top steakhouses are in town close to me, wherever I'm staying, and I'll just go by myself, and it's awesome. Like, that's my thing.
But you're not going for the chains though. You're looking for
it's always like whatever has like a really good review. Like I won't just go to the same place that you can go in my city or whatever. I'll go to something that's highly rated that is unique to that city.
And that's your thing.
That's my thing. I'm very boring. I don't do a whole lot. Touring for 30 some years. I'm just I can only go to the Eiffel Tower so many times, or I just don't like. I stay in my room and I just chill out and work on some music stuff or whatever. And
right.
Yeah.
Tell me how it is to be on the road. You're a family man. You've been married for how many years now?
13.
13. Congratulations.
Almost
And
14.
you have 2 small kids.
I do have. She'll be 7 in May, and Sammy's 10 months.
10-month-old.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
man.
He's
Wow.
a meatball, we call him.
So when you're on the road like that, technology has made it easier
So much easier.
to stay in touch with your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
And is that true for you?
It was amazing. I was gone for 4 months this summer, and if it wasn't for FaceTime, I don't know. It worked out perfectly because I was always like 8 hours ahead of where we were here in the States. So they were going to bed. I was going to bed, after a show, and then, when they were getting up for school, it was basically like kind of like the early afternoon over there. So it worked out. I kind of jokingly say like I saw and talked to them a little bit more in the FaceTime moments,
Right.
and in your daily hustle and bustle of getting them out the door, going to school or whatever. So,
Thank goodness for that. I remember when I was in California doing a reboot of the Donnie and Marie show, and this is in the late 90s. So there's no FaceTime. There's something called See You, See Me, which is some like ancient primal version of FaceTime. And I could see my little tiny kids at that point, but it was more like very, very primitive portion of that. And it's just got to make things so much easier, because I remember that at the 2-week mark when I was on the road, my heart would break and I'd be like, I want to go home now.
Yeah.
It's had to have made that easier.
yeah. Still 4 months is 4 months.
Ooh,
not
true.
being home. So,
Yeah.
But it was great seeing them. So wonderful seeing them again.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Do you have a little time at home now?
I do.
Okay.
I have some time.
Good on you. Well,
Yeah.
I'm coming down to check
You
out
are
that
definitely
studio.
coming down.
I want to talk a little bit about Cleveland and your start in the music business.
Yeah.
Now, are your parents musical, or how did that
No.
all?
My parents were not musical, but they had an incredible record collection. I think, if you would call like where to get your talent, it's probably from my dad. He was an incredible athlete. He was great at every sport that he did. He was in high school, he was a left-handed first baseman. Anybody that knows baseball, that's like, to be a left-handed first baseman is ideal. And he hit with power, and he had the best eye that I've ever seen. I remember when I was 15 years old, we went into a batting cage after work, and he's in dress slacks, shirt, dress shoes, and he grabs a softball bat, and we go into the 80-mile-an-hour cage, and he hit every single one of them on a line drive. And I'm like, Dad, how do you do that? And he's like, just keep your eye on the ball, just focus.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of like the focus, the trying to be as sharp as you can came from him. But yeah, they didn't have any musical ability. But when I was, again, 3 years old, they had Yellow Brick Road playing. Saturday Nights Are Right for Fighting was playing. I had a little plastic toy guitar with nylon strings that you couldn't play anything on it. But the bridge was going, ba-da-da, da-da-da, and I would air guitar it.
Right.
And my mom picked up on it. She's like, wow, he's hearing that. And a couple of years later, when I was 5 years old, they took me to a music store. My mom's like, he just loves music. We have records playing in the house all the time. And he loves this guitar. Do you think he might be able to play guitar? So they walked around the store and they found, it was like an old Ibanez, well, now it's old, it was an Ibanez Les Paul copy that had a smaller radius neck that had a lighter body, and it fit. So that was when I started playing when I was 5 years old. And I took lessons all through junior high, high school.
And you worked in a music store,
I did.
Right? So bring it full circle. Yeah, and then you were selling Electric Voice.
Electric Voice, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
We were an EV dealer.
Right.
And I remember the owner had a system. He had a cover, like a wedding band. And he had the ones on the towers or whatever. And back in those days, this is like mid-'80s, EV was, there's still, but like where I was in Cleveland, it was like all the professional bands were using EV. And I needed a microphone for my studio. And the first microphone I ever bought was a 757 ND. I don't know what it stood for, but that was the series. And it was my favorite mic. And I used it from 86 till basically when I lost mine, and it broke my heart because in the early 2000s, thousands of gigs, whether I was playing a solo gig or a duo or a trio, whatever, that was my vocal mic. And yeah, killer microphone. I loved it.
So you were hawking EV gear at a music store.
And I was selling it.
That is so funny.
Yeah. It's great stuff.
When did you start moving into playing professionally? How did that transpire?
Well, I put my first, professionally when I was probably 11 or 12. We're Italian, and every Sunday, we have family dinners at the house. My aunt's cooking the pasta, has the sauce going all day. Well, my cousins also were musicians. My one cousin played drums, the other played accordion. And we had a sax player and then a singer that played bass. And we would just play out of the fake book, for all our relatives. And it was like 30 or 40 of us every Sunday. We'd gather around and have dinner, and we would play. And my cousins were older, so they started a wedding band. And by the time I was like 12 years old, I remember 1983, we played Italian Day at SeaWorld in Cleveland.
Did you really?
And I was already making like $300 or $400 a night at that age as a kid.
Wow.
And every dollar I made went right back into gear, just constantly trying to improve, my musical pattern, path or whatever.
Right.
So
that was your first kind of foray into the business. When did your tenure with Gary Lewis and the Playboys?
That started when I was 22. I just turned 22.
That must have been an amazing point in your life, huh?
So I was at a musician's jam night in Strongsville, which is right down the street from my parents' house. And there was a duo playing, and they didn't have, they needed a bass player. And my buddy was nudging me. He's like, hey, why don't you go play bass? You know how to play bass. I'm okay. So I went up and played, and two of the guys from Gary's band walked in, and I didn't know who they were. Yeah. But they said, no, stay there, and they called off a couple of songs. They knew I had no idea. It was More Today Than Yesterday by Spiral Staircase, which was a one-hit wonder, and Temptation Eyes by the Grassroots. They obviously knew I was really young, but they just said, okay, this one's in the key of G, and this one's in the key of like B flat, and we'll see at the end of the song. But they didn't know I played guitar and keyboards. So I'm watching the keyboard player walk with his left hand. And I'm also looking at the guitar player, watching the chord changes, and I could anticipate or jump the changes. And after like 30 seconds, I'd sort of get the pocket or the feel of the song. And they looked at each other and there's no way that you know these songs. And then afterwards I told them, and they also played guitar and keyboards. So like, oh, okay, we get it. So after, a couple months or so, they asked me to join the band. And that was, so July of 93 was when I played my first show. And it was in front of, a lot of people don't know, but Gary Lewis's father was Jerry Lewis. Nutty Professor, telethons and all that. And the first show I played was at the old Aladdin Theater in Las Vegas.
Oh, man.
Before they had built it the second time.
Okay.
And I didn't know he was going to be there. The curtain goes up, and there he is in the front row doing all this Nutty Professor stuff. And
really?
Met him after the show. And it was the start of a 6.5-year tenure with the band. And the cool thing was that we got to back up virtually everybody that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Such as
Sam Moore, who just passed away.
I love
lost
Sam.
Leslie Gore, Mitch Ryder. I mean, it's all the girl groups, all the, the Drifters, the Coasters, all that stuff. So because Gary had the most hits, a lot of people don't know, in the middle 60s and during the British invasion, when the Beatles and the Stones and the Who were all hitting their stride from like 64 to 66, Gary had the most top 10 hits of any of those. He had his first 7 records were top 10. He had a number 1, he had a number 2, a 3, 2 5s. So Gary was the closing act on all of these package oldie shows because he had the most hits. After a couple of shows, he had joined this new talent agency, and a lot of the other artists that were on the show would have a local band rehearsing on stage with them because they'd have charts. And it would take forever for sound checks for us to get our sound checks. So we told the agency, look, we'll learn everybody's material and memorize it. We'll be the band for the whole show and then have Gary come out and close it. Well, it tripled our workload because we would now be on so many more shows because of that. And the artists love the band. Like, they're like, great, we got to play, because they would do other shows too, right, with other local bands. But we got a really good reputation of being, very professional and playing the stuff the way they wanted to hear it. So, yeah, we worked a lot.
All your heroes, all the heroes of the day, man.
I'll never forget we did a cruise, and Sam Moore was on the cruise with us, Little Anthony and the Imperials. We backed them out. And one afternoon we sat poolside with Tom Dowd, legendary producer. And for 3 hours, we just listened to him talk. Just all those classic stories, Derek and the Dominoes. It was just incredible.
You've been able to work with some of your heroes. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the later years, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about Bryan Adams.
Oh, hey, look at that.
I know that guy.
I was like, yeah. Well, Bryan Adams, man, he is my Paul McCartney. When I was 14, I mean, it goes back to when I first heard him, Lonely Nights, his first single in 81. Just loved his voice, loved the records. And when I was 14, I put my first my own rock bands together. And the Reckless album was like, it's like Thriller for pop rock guys,
Totally.
So got to know him really well over the years. And in 2021, he called me and asked me to play some gigs at the Wynn in Las Vegas because his guitar player, Keith Scott, didn't want to travel with COVID. COVID was still happening. So initially he brought me in to take Keith's spot. And then right before the shows, Keith decided to do it. But he still wanted me to play the shows. So I was basically a third guitar player within the band. Right. And I did parts that I knew that Bryan and Keith didn't cover live. And it was so much fun. And we've just become really, really good friends ever since. And he's just a sweetheart of a guy. And to me, he's singing better than he ever has. Really? He's like 65 now. Like, he's insane. He's so good. Yeah.
My story about Bryan Adams is I was on tour with the Steve Miller band playing guitar with my brother Ricky and my brother Billy. We did a Canadian tour with Extreme and Bryan Adams for like a month. And we didn't get to hang out with Bryan very much, but I'm a huge fan of Brian Adams
Yeah.
too. It was just so fun to hear him every night. And he's been so good to his band over the
Yeah.
years too, right?
Yeah, so the whole camp, I mean, there were people there since the very beginning. When I did the show, his front of house guy, Jody Perpick, is the guy Jimmy quit and Jody got married.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's him. That's Jody. It's been his best friend since, whatever. He's been the front of house guy. I think recently he sort of semi-retired and his son's part of the organization. But, I mean, 25 years. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been there since the very beginning, and it just shows you, the character and how loyal he is, and he's amazing.
That doesn't happen in every band, does it?
Yeah,
No.
he's great.
Talk to me about Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, how much time do you have?
That's another one of your faves, right? Who
10,
ended
did you
up
say
being
10 minutes? That's it? Okay.
10 minutes.
You got to wrap it up in 10? Okay. Well, long story short, he's been my guitar hero. I mean, the first show I ever saw was Van Halen 1984, and it just blew me away. And through my dear friend who I met over the years, Adam Reaver, he brought me into that camp in 2010. And Matt Bruck, who has been Ed's best friend since 1990, he still runs 5150 and all of the EVH brand, Fender EVH brand stuff. So kind of the three, I was brought into that kind of thing. I'll never forget when his Frankenstein they made a replica model of this in 2007, the very famous guitar that has the bike reflectors on the back.
Yep.
They only made 300 of these guitars, and this is before my gig, and I almost maxed out a credit card to get one because I wanted one so bad. It was like $25,000. Ridiculous. I didn't do it, but then 3 years later, I ended up getting to meet him, and he gifted me one of his own.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And I got to know him so well. He treated me like his son. And then when he passed, it was like when I lost my mom. It was so emotional. But he was so generous with me and just the kindest, sweetest human being you'd ever meet. Yeah.
How do you find yourself in those situations, Ben? I mean, I know why, because I know your character and I know who you are. But these situations always seem to find
It's just, it was, as you know, our world is very small. If you think about it, like if you know one person, it's like, oh, that person knows this person. And it's just like right down the line. So it was one of those things where we did the Def Leppard Crossroads thing. And
Right.
a friend of mine was the photographer. And he introduced me to Adam because Adam would work on Phil Collin, the guitar player in Def Leppard, would work on his guitars. Well, Adam has a company called FU Tone, which does the tremolo parts for the bridges on the guitars. And Adam's best friend growing up was Matt Bruck.
Oh, wow.
And they were both from Philly, and that's how that whole thing happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so you and I are the seasoned veterans now. I'm older than you, but there's a lot of people out there who have aspirations to do what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, this isn't always that easy to do. What is your advice to somebody who's like, man, I want to be like Paul. I want to be on the road. But I don't know what the blueprint is. What's your advice to someone like that who wants to give this a go?
It's tough, man, because I would say my first break happened when I was 22, obviously, but there's so many peaks and valleys along the way until you get, I'm so lucky to be where I'm at, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, survival. My gosh, in the 90s and the 2000s, it was just like just doing everything I could.
Yeah.
I would just play gigs and, okay, this cover gig, it was just a way of paying the bills. And
Right.
but you really got to love music. You got to love what you're doing. And I think like hard work and dedication to whatever craft that you're in will lead to a successful ending. I think the more that you put into it, the luckier you get.
It's persistence.
Persistence, absolutely. Yeah.
You just got to keep going. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm playing better now. Oh, remember me?
Yeah.
It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
you just got to keep, in my opinion, you got to keep showing up.
Keep showing up, keep swinging. You can go up to bat like 1,500 times, and on the 1,501st one, you hit a grand slam, and then it's like, hey, that was worth all of everything that you put into it.
Yeah, it definitely takes, wouldn't you say, a distinct personality to be a musician or someone in the arts.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to love it. You got to want it. Speak about work ethic. You got to show up and
Absolutely. I've always I've subscribed to the notion of if you're 15 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
I have never missed a bus call, a flight, any of that. It's like I over prepare on everything.
Smart.
Whether you're practicing, on one. I learned all the instruments for my audition, like for whatever I did, because I always looked at it like, well, if this situation happened and they couldn't do it, I could slide over to the bass position, for instance, and get through a show. Just make that sort of like I just over prepared for everything that I've ever done, so that you leave no question as to, can you do it or not?
You're a pro. That's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do this, you've got to do it.
Got to do it.
Okay, let's have a little fun. I saw a picture of you at the Chiefs-Browns game, right? Mm-hmm. Was that right?
Yeah.
What were you? Yeah. Were you doing the anthem?
So there was it was like the player introductions. Well, no, with that one last year I played the national anthem, which was really fun. It was for the Titans-Browns game.
Okay,
so I did it on guitar. Not really.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. No, this was more nerve-wracking than anything. And I told him that.
He said that he's a backstage, man, I get so nervous doing this stuff. I'm like, we're in my living room here.
I mean, it's easy for you. You do it all the time. But no, so I was doing, they basically did a video montage of like the players on the video screens.
Yeah.
And they had, I think it was like Hell's Bells playing.
Oh, yeah.
And I played like a certain part of the riff, and then they wanted me to solo over the rest of it. It was like maybe a minute and a half on that section. And then before they ran out in the field, they wanted me to just solo. Like, so.
How fun is that?
Yeah, that was fun.
Showing up at the game and doing that. That's very
it's my
cool.
hometown, so I'm a lifelong Browns fan.
Are you still doing any teaching?
Yeah,
Are you doing some teaching?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How does someone find out about
my website?
How to find you? Okay.
Yeah, paulsidoti.com.
paulsidoti.com. Okay, well, that's good because I need some lessons.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to play the guitar properly.
Oh, I would love to.
What do you got coming up this year? What's exciting you? What are your plans?
The studio is like my passion right now. I'm just so excited for the possibilities because I don't know, what's coming.
Yeah.
Based on, tonight could change everything. It could make it, wow. Now, it could alter that path drastically in a very positive way. So I'm, fingers crossed. It'll be so cool because I've never won anything. I go to Vegas, I pull a slot machine and $20 is gone in 5 seconds. I just do not win when I do anything, but it would be amazing. But yeah, that is my main focus.
Okay.
Family time. My gosh, my wife Ashley is such a beautiful human being, and my kids are, just trying to play catch up for the last couple of years is, quality time at home is my plan.
You've been very busy.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to witness as your buddy and just to see you being successful and the down-to-earth guy that you are, man. I just am so happy for you and your family. And it's been so fun. And finally, I did get you back here. And by the way, Evie is grateful for having you here. We want to give you an RE20 Black.
Oh, studio warming gift.
For your, a little studio warming gift for you.
Thank you very much.
And so we come full circle, and now you've got another EV mic.
And I won't lose this one.
Don't lose that one. That one sounds pretty darn good. I think you might be talking into one right there.
Awesome.
Paulie, I love you, brother.
I love you
Thank
too.
you so much for taking the time to come here. We wish you all the luck with the Tech Awards tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Sidoti.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Have a good NAMM, everybody.
Music on the Run was created by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Recorded, produced, and mixed by Davide Raso. And a big shout out to our fans on Patreon who make this podcast possible. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode. Until then, remember, I'm a Swiftie too.